You know what, man? Whatchamacallit, that guy Crypto. Man, I can never say his name. Crypto something.
Yeah.
On Twitter, he does it for me.
Okay.
He's
cool.
here, but he's spending time up north with another brother who came down. We had like a little meet up here in Germany with my group of guys, and so we had like 3 guys down here, and he went up and stayed with him because hey, down here where I'm at, man. I tell everybody I'm in the armpit of Germany, so it's like there's nothing to do down here. So he went up there and he's been training jiu-jitsu and MMA with those guys. So he does my copy, but I mean, it's not really anything official. I don't have any official, copywriter. Like I got another brother. He's pretty well known, Yusuf, but he's like has a big representation on Facebook, and he's a copywriter, and he is helping me with the copy for my new website. So
okay, good.
Yeah.
Good.
So I don't really have anybody that I really work with. Walaikum salam, Rishi.
What's up?
Yeah.
Hold on just 1 second. No, well, good. It's good you got.
So I mean, I'm open because I know it's an art, it's a skill, and it's it's not one I have. I'm still playing catch up on the whole internet marketing thing, So yeah.
I need to go. I need to get one of them lights, bro. One of them studio lights. I'm supposed to go. As a matter of fact, I probably could have gone today, but I just got.
I wanted to get one. This guy, one of the a fellow Twitter head and YouTuber, he suggested one of these. If I can find it, I'll send you the link. It looked like it was a good one. But right now, what I basically have is like I have a white naked light bulb in front of me. It's like soft white light because I used to have yellow. I used to have problems, and so I just use that. But I need to get a proper studio light. But this works well because it's in a corner to top it off. Because like what you don't see is a corner. I have a corner shaped desk, so the light reflects really well off the white wallpaper.
Right.
It gives me some nice, especially for black people. I don't know if Sadiq knows that, but if you're making videos, man, you really need lighting because the moment lighting drops, man, you sort of disappear.
Sure. No, I mean, I'd like to get one on a stand, like how they have those square ones, or even the round one. You know what I mean? And just, I saw one that it's not. I mean, you could use it for that if it were just at your table, but it's meant to be more like a table lamp that can extend and all that. But it's the round kind, and you can brighten and dim the light accordingly. And I thought, oh man, that'd probably be a good one to do.
I'll ask him. It was kind of pricey, but it was nice. It was like you said, it could either go on a stand or it can go on your tabletop. It has different settings and whatnot. You can do white light, soft light, hard, harsh, whatever for you. You know, you can. It's adjustable. It's highly adjustable. It's LED and it faces you. It's round. I'll ask him what it was again, and I'll send it to you on WhatsApp. It was a good looking light.
Yeah,
I didn't do nothing. Yeah,
they even got like little ones that you can like clip onto the computer or onto the whichever. But
I have one, but I don't know where it's at. Yeah, it's not. Oh, there it is. Hold on 1 second. Can I reach it with my headphones on though?
We went live. I mean, we're talking about
this clips on almost anything. It's pretty good, but it doesn't last long. It's actually battery powdered, and that's the battery powdered. Yes, it's powdered with batteries. It's battery powered, and it doesn't work well, for long. I mean, it's bright, and then it dies.
I've got one that's hanging off the ceiling thing right now too. Similar.
Yeah. Can you put that to the phone?
It has several mounts, like you see. The covers off of it, and you can like put all sorts of different types of mounts on it, and it'll like attach to anything, like in any direction, basically like this, whatever, however you like. It makes decent light, but it doesn't last long if you have it on the brightest setting. And if you make like an hour-long video, you might get like 2 hour-long videos out of it. I'm sorry, guys, I didn't do the announcement, man. Welcome to OG Logic episode 10. We're talking about setting boundaries, man. This is my main.
Yeah. But we always boundaries all the way around.
Yeah, in everything. But we always catch up once we come back on the show because we're all busy dudes and we got busy lives. So like the first 10-15 minutes minimum, we're in here just chopping it up.
Yeah, that's before we hit the live button.
Right.
It's before we go live, then it just rolls over into whatever's happening, whatever's clever. Yeah. So how's everybody's week been going? Good?
Man, it's hot.
Good? Yeah. Yeah, it is hot.
Yeah, it's hot.
Yeah. So how's everybody's week been going? Good? Man, it's hot. Good? Yeah. Yeah, it is hot. Yeah. So how's everybody's week been going? Good? Yeah. Yeah. It's hot. Yeah. Yeah. It is hot. Yeah. Yeah. It is hot. Yeah. It is hot for sure.
What's running out there with you guys, man? Out here today is about 37, man. 37 Celsius.
Oh, wow.
It's hot. Yeah, right now it's showing 32 on my phone.
What'd we get to up here?
34.
Ooh.
See, I don't even think we got that much. Now, I still have my phone set in Fahrenheit. Yeah, but it was like 91 today.
You know, that's the crazy thing. I'm an American, and someone tells me Fahrenheit, and I have no frame of reference for, like, you know, it was 102. Yeah. And I'm just like, what's that mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Is that hot?
It's still in the 30s. You know, like I just don't know the exact freaking numbers that it is. Yeah.
Yeah, it's toasty. I could ask Siri. Freaking, what's the thing? Humid to top it off, bro. It's just bad.
Yeah, humid.
What's 91 degrees Fahrenheit and Celsius? 32.8
Celsius.
Yeah, it's about the same here.
Yeah.
You don't look like you're suffering though. I mean, we're out here like, you know, I can hear it.
I got the AC just blowing on me.
You got an AC. Look and see. This guy bossed out with his AC.
Kicking it large. You know, hey, my AC's on remote control too, bro.
Oh, nice. This place is like older than my granddad, so there's no AC up in here. And I would like to like put one in and everything, but the house owner, I don't know what they did, man. They did some goofy stuff, and now the house belonged to three siblings. Mm-hmm. And one of them was like a gambler. He like ran up a whole bunch of debt, and somehow the debt ended up with like this city. So the state literally ended up with his debt, and they was like, well, he died. We're going to take his percentage of the house. And then they just basically bullied the rest of the family out and was like, well, we're selling the house. We're the government. We're going to do what we want to do. So basically the house is on auction, and they said it could be sold anytime. So I just stopped fixing it. I was fixing it up and everything. That's why, like, you see that stripe down there, the wallpaper came off because outside it's like those German tiles and it leaks. And so the wallpaper started peeling up, and I started peeling everything down. So, because I was going to fix it. And then when I got that news, I was like, oops, stop. I don't do nothing up in her. Okay.
Hey, well, I mean, if it's going up on the auction block, is that something that you think about buying, or
not at the price they want?
Yeah.
We were looking at it, but they want way too much money for this place. And I was just like, man, y'all crazy. It's like, this place, you know, for an apartment, they're asking house prices for an apartment. You know, the government, man, they ain't smart. You know, those guys pay like $50,000 for a toilet seat. You know, Germany ain't different.
Yeah, that's real talk too, man.
They think we're as dumb as them, you know.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Nah, so
what about you guys? Oh, where'd I go?
Sadiq?
Oh,
you got any news for the week?
No major news. Just started back trying to get in a gym routine, and it's hard, man. Being a big going back to basics is hard because I'm a bit of an ego lifter, so I always have to be of a certain strength level when I go in the gym, and just maintaining that is just, you know, it's ridiculous. So that's the challenge for me, just motivating myself. I've been 3 times already since last Monday. It's been hard, I'm not gonna lie. This is probably since I was a newbie over 20 years ago when I first went into prison. This is the hardest I found it to go gym. Terrible.
We getting older, man. It's that OG syndrome. You know what? It's like me in cardio. I was a distance runner, man, and it's like that was in high school up until I got out of high school. Now, man, I want to go out and run and stuff. I'm just like, man, I hate sweating. My knees. You know, I just don't want to do it anymore, man.
Yeah, you know, I got this home gym stuff, like some dip bars, some resistance bands, and all that. But like, before I came out here, you know, I had my gym membership in the States, and I was like hitting it tough 5 times a week, like going like motivated and all that. And it's weird because now that the shit is just right here in my living room, I'm just like, I don't want to do that right now. You know what I mean? It's like it was, I was more on it getting
you
in
have
my
to go
car
out.
and driving 15, 20 minutes away than I am with the shit sitting, 2 meters away from me. You know what I mean? Like it's just, it's weird. I mean, I've been doing it, but like, then again, it's like, I don't have, I've been using these resistance bands because, I'm still wanting to get some something on the muscles, besides just my own body weight. But still, I like those, I like the weights. I like the free weights, and what I've been looking for is one of those things that you can hang in your doorway and do the pull-ups, but the good ones, like the ones that go on both sides, and they just stay sold out of them at the place by me. Like everybody just has the same idea right now. Like they're like, yeah, I need one of those, and people probably ain't even using them. That's the messed up part.
Yeah.
So
I spent quite a lot of time there at the beginning of Corona.
Yeah.
It was like literally the markup was crazy, but I was so desperate for them that I paid it. And then after like the second week, I didn't even use them.
Yeah.
I want to grab some Olympic rings, man. Instead of those, they got those, what do they call those, something bands? I think we're talking about the same thing. I was just going to get Olympic rings, and they sell like Olympic rings on Amazon. It comes like in a thing, and you just use them to do your chest flies. You can use them to do push-ups.
Yeah,
you get
like hook them to something or whatever.
Yeah. I made my boxing thing back there, and that like holds a lot of weight. So I did a really good job on that one. So I was going to attach it to that.
Well, pull-ups, man. When I was in the joint, that's like what. Yeah, go for it. When I was in the joint, that's what changed my body, like big time. Was pull-ups. Like got the muscle going fast. It changed the shape. When people will say sometimes, they'll go, oh, what's the exercise I should get started on right away, and like really you should get started on multiples right away. But I always say, man, like get on those pull-ups, because I had a homie out there with me that like when I first started doing them, I could do like 2, and then he'd spot me a few more, you know what I mean, kind of get me up. But man, like after like that first week or something, I was up to like 5, and then I was up to 7, and then you know what I mean, because I went out and did them 3 times a week or whatever. So it's like that's how it works, is you keep going, you keep getting stronger.
I noticed in America they've got a strong gym culture in the prison system.
Yeah, but here's the thing though, like in California, they took the weights out, I want to say in 95 or 96. It was before I got there. Yeah, they took the weights out, so there's no more. Well, I mean, man, you had dudes that were like straight up fucking monsters, bigger than the cops, and set a coffee cup on their chest, you know what I mean? And then these cops are going to try and control these dudes. They're just throwing them and shit. So they took the weights, but they kept calisthenic bars, like the pull-ups, the push-ups, all that. But I mean, there were still ways around it. We would make weight bags. So like we'd get a laundry bag and line it with like a couple trash bags, and then just from the yard, just like bring in a bunch of dirt. You know what I mean? Just like a bunch of dirt, rocks, make it wet a little bit too, and then you get a good bag going. You do some skull crushers, do the arm. So I mean, there were still little ways around it, but it got to the. Say again?
I'm actually surprised about that, because in my mind, that's how I pictured it. I just pictured a yard with iron everywhere.
Well, first it wasn't everywhere. They had what they call the weight pile, and they still we would still call it that. Like when we were talking about where we were going somewhere, even though there wasn't no weights there, we'd still say, "Oh, over at the pile," or "Over at the weight pile." And it was just like a little section of the yard. But yeah, I want to say it was 96. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that was the year they took them out. They took them out. No more, just calisthenic bars. I was there when they took out smoking, and that was pretty intense. Yeah, so they removed smoking in prison. I want to say it was 2005, and and boy, man, people weren't feeling that, but
they did it here, but I was out by then, so it never affected me.
Yeah, well, it should be. like European culture over here, man. Like we're in restaurants or like out on the terrace and people are just lighting up, just smoking, just whichever. Like you can't do that in America. Like in America, like if you want to smoke a cigarette, you got to go like out to the street, get out by the gutter, and be like, okay, smoke out here. You can't even smoke in front of the front door. Like you got to like go, you know. So
London used to be you could smoke anywhere back in the day here, but then they brought in the smoking laws and changed everything. Everything.
Yeah. No, it's a trip. Like the little differences like that.
It was my contract. I do contract work, and that was my contract calling about tomorrow. So tomorrow I got off. I was like, yo, y'all. I said it's too hot out there to be doing this work. They gave me some crazy work, man. You know, I'll basically do anything as long as it's right. And they sent me to like this insurance company, and this insurance company, man. Usually we've been doing fucking arbeit. I do an entire job in German, so now I'm like looking for the English words. Basically, fire and water damaged houses, and so, but the vast majority of the damage is water damage. So we set up all these sensors and whatnot, you know, and then drying machines, these industrial drying machines, and that's usually what we do. Just go set stuff up and leave. But like the last week and this week, starting this week, like today, they sent me like some straight up like burned out, you know, tore houses. So we're literally like tearing houses down to the frame. And I lost 9 kilos in 4 days. I was like, yo, it was a good workout. I mean, I lost a lot of weight. I got rid of my road belly. But we started off the day and I was like, yo, this is crazy.
Sadiq, is Abu's thing messing up on your end? Is he coming through all right on your end?
Sadiq is frozen on my screen.
He just did go frozen too. Your the audio is like pixelating or something, and you're
it's probably my fan. Because it's like it's mixing this like right here, and it's probably like messing with my sound, which is unfortunate.
It's not just the sound too, though. It's the picture. Like it looks like a Wi-Fi thing. Yeah, kinda.
Yeah.
Look at Sadiq's just frozen.
Yeah, he's frozen. I'm gonna bounce him real quick. He can come back. He looks at that crazy look on his face. There it goes. He's back. So
my phone froze. Sorry, it said overheating.
Your phone's overheating?
Yeah, I just had to switch. I had to switch phones.
You know it's hot.
Yeah, proper hot.
Man, I guess everybody's having problems. Rishi's saying I'm breaking out. I don't know what that means. I have spots on me, bro. Come on, man. I'm breaking out, man. I look good.
You're breaking out.
Girl, man. I'm sorry. Yeah. So now they sent me back to this place again today. Went to a beautiful house, had water damage, man. Some rich insurance guy. Freaking house is amazing. Dude's got koi fish in there in the pond in his backyard. This pond's got to be about like maybe 8 to 10 feet deep. He's got koi in there that are like 50 pounds, dude. I've never seen koi that large. It's wow. I wouldn't even swim with those things. They're basically giant guppies. I wouldn't get in the water with them because I think those things would swallow me whole. I was standing up on this bridge looking down there. What the heck?
Yeah.
We're digging up this entire house. And I was like, hey, look, man, you keep sending me all these places where all this crazy work. And, I'm starting to take this personal. You know, I'm 48 years old this year. And so she pulled me from the site. She got me like a nice cushy job in an office at a logistics company. So
there you go.
Yeah. So setting boundaries like I did with this lady. Hey man, what you doing?
What's really going on?
You know, it's interesting that we brought this topic because in my men's group, we have like we have one room that basically is like self-improvement reading. And the book we were going over was No More Mr. Nice Guy. And it's really, man, setting boundaries is a big deal for a lot of men, apparently. Like, too many guys out there are absolute nice guys. And they don't know how to say no. They're afraid to say no. Consequences, whatever else, man.
Mm-hmm.
Sound is breaking up, boo.
It's a sound and picture.
Yeah, I suppose it.
All right, I'm gonna bounce and come back.
Yeah, it's probably the internet.
Okay, I'm gonna bounce and come back.
All right. Bam.
Probably the heat's got something to do with it as well.
Yeah, maybe. Could be.
Yeah.
You know, in my like Southern California, like a lot of the places have air conditioning, right? Like most of them. But when I moved up to Northern California, I moved into this apartment, and there was no air conditioning in the apartment, and I was like, why the fuck isn't there any air? Excuse me. I was like, well, where's the air conditioning? You know? And they were like, oh, well, actually, most places don't have air conditioning. And I was like, what? Like, come on, man! Don't try and sell me on that BS. You know? They're like, no, really. And then I was talking to my homie Jim. You guys know him. He's in my group.
Yeah.
And Jim's like, nah, man. A lot of places don't have AC. And I'm just like, oh, that's whack, man. I'm like, what the heck? Because it was getting hot. I was like, oh, no AC? Oh, brutal.
Yes, it's terrible. In a hot country, it's needed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've never had one with like a little remote though. That's pretty cool. Just sit here and just be like,
pretty standard. In the Middle East, it's pretty standard, the remote thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I've always had to like go to the wall and like put it, you know, there's like a little thing on the wall and you're just like, doo, 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 doo. Okay,
yeah,
cool.
turn it.
Yeah.
That's like old school. Analog.
Yeah, well,
digital now.
They make them digital now. Yeah. But still, like you got to go to the wall. I mean, you know what? They probably sell them to where like you could buy like a kit to replace it, you know, where it's like a smart one. You can do it with your phone. You know what I mean? They probably do that, but I don't need to get all that high tech. I don't mind walking the couple feet.
Yeah, two things lacking in Europe in general are like ACs and heated floors. Heated floors are really catching up fast in Germany, but
I got heated floors in here.
Oh, maybe it's the same.
Yeah.
I can't do anything about it, Rich, man. I'm gonna have to figure this out. I'll have to get a gigabox, I guess. I'm gonna get a gigabox. It's like plugged in high-speed internet. I don't know what else to do. So, setting boundaries. Yeah. You know, I think it's the fan. It's too much going on with the sound of the fan. Let me see if I can fix this.
I don't know if the fan's gonna do it, but we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, it's probably just all that sound, and it's like this constant bombarding the mic, and it's just like overloading everything, you know. With the internet and all whatever, because my internet is like less than ideal. I'm running over Wi-Fi. It's cable, but it's still over Wi-Fi because I can't run a direct cable to it. It's too far.
You can't run direct cable to it.
No, I wish I could. Man.
Oh yeah, you got it. That'll help big time, man.
Yeah. Let me move this stuff around and see what I can come up with. But am I good enough to talk right now? Can you guys understand?
Yeah, it's just a bit robotic though. A bit robotic.
It's just going in and out. Yeah. Go for it.
Fix this and I'll be right back, you guys. Lebanon's entire government just collapsed today. Holy smokes!
Oh wow.
I'll be back.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So boundaries. Okay.
Yeah.
We got to get on this because we're already 25 minutes in, and yeah. So boundaries. One of the things we're talking about with boundaries today, fellas and ladies, whoever's tuning in and watching, not just relationship boundaries, like, you know, oh, I got to set the right boundaries with my girl or whatever, but we're just talking about boundaries in general that can apply to your relationships, but also business, friendships, just the type of standards that you put out that people can see you're about the standard, or people know like this is what he will or won't accept, right? There's an old saying, I don't know how old it is, but I remember hearing it for a while, and it's you know, if you'll eat shit sandwiches, people will give you shit sandwiches. Yeah. You know, like if that's what, like, people know, like, oh yeah, he'll take it, you know, you'll get it. And that's not only in romantic relationships, but that's you know, business, that's friendships, you know. And in my opinion, it's best right off the bat to set those standards before things get deeper and deeper into whatever type of relationship you're talking about. And if somebody breaks that standard, you got to check them on it immediately. Because I think that's what a lot of people have problem with, is that they go, okay, well he didn't mean it, or he didn't know, or whichever. No, I'll say something to him next time, but when people know what they can get away with, they'll keep trying to get away with it. It's like human nature.
Yeah. One of my biggest observations with people not being able to say no or set boundaries is two things. They want to be liked, and they have a scarcity mindset. And this scarcity mindset can be like, oh, I don't know if I'm going to find a job like this, or I don't know if I'm going to find a girl like this, or what this person, there's always some foundational fear of losing out, and this has been my biggest observation, in terms of like the nice guy syndrome. And really, when it boils down to it, I think that's what it is. I think it's something of a nice guy syndrome. I don't know what it's called in women. I guess women are generally agreeable, and agreeability is like a female trait. But with men, we're supposed to be slightly disagreeable. And this is just my observation. Like, guys are afraid to, like that's the boundaries. And when someone puts a shit sandwich on the table, they're just like, okay, well, thanks, Ted. And they're not like, hey,
it'll only taste bad for a minute.
Exactly. This has been my observation.
Yeah. What were you going to say, Sadiq?
Oh, I thought Abu was talking. For me, it's gone a bit full circle with this whole boundary situation. So, growing up the way I grew up, I used to push boundaries on. I was a piss taker. I was an armed robber. I did a lot of things where I had no respect for people's boundaries. So once I made my transition, I was hypersensitive to everything. So I think I overcompensated by being a nice guy. I was just, that just smiling at everyone, just doing the most to make other people feel comfortable, almost like some sort of penance for my sins. Do you know what I mean? But what I found is that I wasn't winning. I wasn't winning. I was literally just being used as a tool by people. I wasn't progressing in life. I lost that killer instinct that I had, that used to push me forward, that used to make me get what I wanted in life, whether it was good or bad.
Yeah.
So I had to literally. So with the line of work that I was doing, I was working with a lot of ex-offenders.
Okay.
People coming out of prison, and it was confusing for me because I didn't know how to identify. I was confused about where I stood. Sometimes talking to someone from the same world as you instantly identify with them, and sometimes in a professional setting, you can actually cross boundaries where you're being unprofessional. So there was times when I first started, I was being unprofessional. I was chatting rubbish with them. I was overlooking a lot of the things they were doing without giving them the hard facts about what, the mistakes they're about to make. And then I found that they're not looking at me the same, because as far as they're concerned, you're a normal guy, you're a civilian. We don't care about what you did 10 years ago or 5 years ago. You're a civilian. So with them, they was pushing boundaries on me, where I'm thinking, hold on, I will fuck you up. Are you mad?
Yeah.
It was strange. For a whole year, it was strange, but I learned how to set the boundary and the tone from the beginning. I had to come to terms with who I am now, and I'm not a criminal now. I don't aspire to be a criminal, and I don't care if criminals. I don't even care how they perceive me anymore. And once I come
Right.
to terms with that, it allowed me to set boundaries with them. Like, I don't need to identify with you. I don't need you to accept me. This is what you're going to do, and I'm here to help you. And
Right.
and from then on, my career took on. You know, it progressed. So struggling with boundaries, because sometimes we're used to boundaries comes in different forms, like what you said earlier on. It's not always with women. It's not always with work. It's not always professional. So sometimes balancing it in all areas of our life is the challenge, because some areas we're rigid with our boundaries. Like, I know none of us here is going to let another guy step on his shoes and get away with it.
Mm-hmm.
But your daughter might come and ask for £100, and you might be soft and think, oh, here you go. You know what I mean? Like, so establishing a high level of boundaries on all areas of life is a challenge, and I'm not afraid to say that I still have to regulate myself in some areas. I still have to consciously make an effort to keep boundaries, because I do end up in situations with people that, if I'm not careful, I can easily slip back into old ways, old habits. So I have to, before I even get into those situations. All right, I'll give you an example. Last year, some gang members from my area, Brixton, they asked me to do security for a mansion party. And I was like, yeah, cool. I knew like about 60% of the people there. Now, as I was doing the security, I noticed something within myself. I am not these people no more. I was horrified by the way they were speaking to each other with no respect. The posing, just the stupid behavior. And I thought to myself, do you know what? I don't want to be part of this. You know, there was a shooting involved. There was quite a lot of things that happened that night. And I said, I can't be part of this no more. A couple of weeks ago, one of them called me again, and he said, look, we're having a party in a forest. We want you to be security because, you know, you did well last time, and there's going to be these amount of girls there, this amount of money, you know, it's all family. What you saying? And I was like, yeah, I didn't even think twice about it. And then during the week, it was playing in my mind. Do I need to be there? Do I need this money? Do I need to put myself in the situation where I could potentially be in a drama with any of these kids that could, let me risk my life and my freedom? And I just had to call him and say, no, I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
But a few years back, I would have just put myself in that position. So it's just seeing things before they happen. But that's just one area of creating boundaries. You know, there's so many examples where it's not easy and we struggle.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. You know, there's a lot of I know that we talked about wanting to be liked, you know.
Yeah.
You want people to accept you and accept you know, that you're a cool guy or whatnot.
Yeah.
But I think for a lot of people, what it is too is it's lack of courage, lack of stones. You know, like they want to say something. You know, they don't want to be treated the way they are, but they just don't have the juice to just check someone. You know, so either they don't, right? They just don't. They just keep taking it, or they start doing, which is maybe even worse. They start doing passive aggressive stuff. You know what I mean? And then you get this passive aggressive, you know, that which still makes you look bad. Doesn't, you know, it doesn't make you look courageous. Just makes you look like you're scared still. But I think that's a big thing that has to do with a lot of people and boundaries, is just a lack of fortitude, lack of courage. Oh, your Wi-Fi all of a sudden got super better, Craig.
Awesome. That's good.
Yeah.
It was the fan for sure. The boundaries, man. What you're talking about right there is. I had an example. I was at my last company. I was working in an engineering company, and this dude, he shows up. He's a lieferant. He's a deliverer, and he's bringing some some material for the factory to keep the factory running. Because I do internal logistics. I run some of their logistics together with my job in sales and purchasing. So I meet this guy and I'm like going over the shipment, whatever else. And this guy is mad because the entire company is a construction site, and he's flipping out because he's driving this big truck. And I'm just like, look, man, I'm just here to check this load. I can't help you with the construction that's going on. And he's really like losing his crap, He's like, oh, he's complaining. So I start messing with him. I start vibing back and forth with him, just playing with him a little bit, which was actually a mistake, because now he took it as like escalation, and so now he's getting really into it. And I'm just like, look, man, I ain't heard a woman whine like you like this. I'm just telling him like this. I say, yeah, it's like, I'm sure your girl's happy with a, little whiny dude like you. And we're just going back and forth, and he won't stop. And it's like, now it's like turned into like a half hour, and I'm like, and at about like 35 minutes, I was like, hey, look, man, I said, you feel really safe running your mouth here because nobody's ever beat your ass. And I told him that. And I told him those direct terms in German. I said, that's why you feel safe running your mouth right now. I said, but this isn't the internet, homie. I said, I'm standing in front of you right here and you're running your mouth and you won't stop. Yeah. And he's like, all right, man. All right.
You got it. You got it at that point.
And I was really at that point, I was like, look, I'm ready to toss this entire job, but it helped. And he actually, they sent another driver after that to like, do the deliveries. And the other driver said, oh, yeah, he sent an apology. He says he's sorry. It's a bad day. His girlfriend left him. I ain't surprised the girl left him. I'm like, but I ain't got nothing to do with that. So setting those boundaries is always good because, otherwise that guy, who knows where it would have went to. I'd have probably ended up having to knock him out if, I'd have just flipped out and snapped, So sometimes you got to like actually, take the stones to just actually check dude. You give him a fair chance here and there, but.
And do you know what it is, yeah? A lot of people, because, sometimes before you have to consciously set a boundary, it's almost too late. When you actually get to the point where you have to consciously set a boundary, then it's too late. What it is that our behavior hasn't been assertive enough in the first place, a lot of the time, because sometimes you could tell people by their demeanor and how they carry themselves that they have a strong personal self-worth. They think highly of themselves. They have boundaries. You can see it with women. There's just a vibe and there's an attitude, and a lot of it is their behavior. One of the workshops that I deliver is about assertiveness, aggressiveness and passiveness, and teaching the young men the difference, because a lot of us, where we're from, we think aggressive behavior is assertive behavior. So we actually don't know the difference between aggressive and assertive behavior. So there's times when when we want to rein in our aggressive behavior, we go all the way passive, especially like when you get people coming to do formal things, stuff that's away from the streets, like going to open a bank account. You take a street guy to go and open a bank account, he's a mouse. He's like a shell of a man because he's just passive. He doesn't understand that yes, we know you shouldn't be aggressive, but you could just still be a man. You could still have your head up high. You could still carry yourself a certain way. And that's what a lot of people don't have, the fine median between aggressive and passive, and just remaining assertive. And some people mistake being assertive for being rude, and it's not. It's literally just speaking confidently, speaking your mind without offense. You don't have to be offensive to people. But when I started the practice of being assertive, I found that I was getting my way. When I first started working, my first job, at first I was passive, thinking, oh yeah, I gotta just, and then when I started being assertive, like, no, I'm not gonna stay late. No, I'm not gonna do that. That's not in my contract. Or I need a pay rise. And I'll notice the manager like smiling and laughing. And I'm thinking, oh, this is working. I'm actually getting my own way without being passive aggressive, like what you said, and without being passive or aggressive. So
Right.
I think that's the key, learning assertiveness, and these are skills that we should be teaching our young adults and our children from a young age, so that they understand boundaries, because it's important women understand boundaries as well, because a lot of women, they figure it out too late when they're in compromising situations, you know, with that you've allowed this guy to cross a boundary so many times through your messaging, through your interactions, that you don't know that you've probably given out signals to make him feel comfortable enough to now start rubbing your leg in a way that you're not comfortable with, because you didn't set boundaries at the beginning. Same way with women, with guys, when women start, you know, feeling entitled to gifts, or talking down to you in public. That didn't happen overnight. It didn't happen overnight. There was a series of events that led to this. And so it's the key, what we hope to try and discover today is, what are the key points to nip in the bud at an early stage before it escalates to the big disrespect. So what are the mini probes? Because one thing I've realized in life, people are constantly probing to lower your worth. You know, men are always probing to lower the worth of a woman. Women are always probing to lower the worth of a man. So what are the probes that they do to lower you down, and how do you stop them?
Real quick before we get into that, Tucson Razorbacks has a question. He says, "What's the difference between setting and establishing moral, ethical boundaries and competitive predator-prey pretenses?" I'm not really sure I understand that entirely. Someone have an idea what he means by that?
Well,
I think, do you want to answer that?
No, go for it.
I think the ethical side of things is, like, for example, in seduction, we're all working a certain game. You know, when you're talking to a woman or whatever, are we lying, or are we still being honorable but competitive in the chase? And that could be even with work. You know, some people might lie on a CV, or they might do things to one up from someone else. I don't know. That's just the way I'm reading it.
I know I'm not there, guys, but you can still hear me, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I think that that in a predator pretense sense, there is no morality. You know, like I mean, if as a gazelle is being eaten by a lion, I'm sure that, you know, the lion doesn't give a shit about the morals of the gazelle, and the gazelle really ain't feeling the morality of a lion either. You know, so it's like it's a whole different ballpark altogether. Morality is essentially a code that you choose to live by, that you feel is the right and correct way to live life. Predator prey is just like, it's them or me. I'm hungry, I gotta eat. So I think that there's that the difference there is that it's coming from right and left field. Essentially, they're just two totally different things. Are you still there?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm like, what happened? The sound just dropped out. No, so I mean, that's just my take. Unless Tucson wants to dive in a little bit further on his explanation. I mean, that's, or, you know, on what he's asking.
Well, he can hit us up later on in the show. So, I mean, we gotta wait for his
We'll get at him later. Yeah.
So Sadiq, man, you were talking about, like, you know, Sadiq, what you were talking about earlier is like recognizing the signs, you know, and I lived in the Middle East. You know, I moved to Qatar. I lived like across a few, you know, places in the Middle East. And one thing I noticed about the Arabs is they like to play that honor and dignity game with you, because they come from a shame-based culture. And so you really have to, like, be careful with those guys, because you can never really tell who's being, like, sincere and who's not. Right. You know, sometimes they're playing a game to try and basically rob you of your public dignity and honor. And other times they're actually trying to be nice. And since you're not from that culture, you know, it's kind of hard to, like, spot it, where they would, like, you know, they've been doing it since they're kids. you know, and they literally do it as kids. I mean, you see them and it's like they're just, you know, kids are cruel, and they grow up and they grow up to be like cruel adults. And that's why I'd never live in the Middle East again. I'm finished with the Gulf, because you know, there's too many games in trying to like mess with a person's, you know, individual honor and dignity, and it's just completely unnecessary. But that, man, is a big deal, you know. I mean, recognizing it, and now you know, I've come to the point where it's like I noticed that like Germans kind of do it in a passive aggressive way also, you know, but not to the extent that the Arabs do it, you know. And so I think you just always have to have your guard up, and unless this is a vouched for homie, you really have to. And I've been an opponent of the respect is earned position, because to me, every individual, they deserve some modicum, some degree of respect as an individual.
Yes.
And then you can lose that respect over time and you don't get it back. But now I'm kind of like mixed bag. It's like if you're coming totally out of the blue, you really got to earn that spot. You know?
I kind of go by vibe, but you see what you said about the Arabs, Now I spent a lot of time in UK, London. We've got a street called Edgware Road. Edgware Road is full of Lebanese restaurants and shisha cafes, and that's what it's known for. Shisha. That was like the hub for shisha. So me and a Pakistani man that I used to do business with, he's much older than me, but we spent a lot of time with each other because we used to do a lot of business with each other. So we used to go to a lot of shisha bars. He was familiar with the majority of them on the street, and he was quite rude to them. He would click his fingers and point, and I used to be like, "Can't, like, don't deal with them like that." And he's like, "No, you don't understand these people. I know how to deal with them. Don't worry. They will respect me for it." So over time, he was basically explaining to me that the only way you got to get respect out of these Arabs is by talking tough to them or really being rude to them. And I used to take it with a pinch of salt. The other day I was with my missus and we was on Edgware Road, and she's Arab, so I don't know if they've got a chip on their shoulder because she's Arab or what, but the waiter, he had a certain face. His demeanor when he was taking the order was a bit, off. So I thought, okay, I see where we're going with this. So when he came back, my attitude was just off. I was, you could say I was being a bit rude. And then his attitude changed. He started being nice. And then my missus is looking at me and I said, yeah, that's how I have to deal with your people. That's the only time they respect me, is when I'm rude to them. For some reason, it works. So sometimes you can't, being a nice guy doesn't work in this world. It doesn't. It's a wolf eat wolf world. I told my mum this from a young age. My mum is a very soft woman. She's the type of mum that if someone hits me, she'll say, "Don't hit them back. Go and tell the teacher." And I said, "Mum, we're growing up in Brixton. This is the worst area in London. If I listened to you growing up, I would have been food." Do you know what I mean?
I know.
I said, I would have been food. I said, I know in the ideal world, it's nice to be able to say, turn the other cheek or go and tell the teacher and everything will be okay. I said, Mum, where we live, just go into the shops makes you a target if you're not strong or you can't defend yourself. So some people don't have the option of being gentle or being nice. That's not the way of the world. Do you know what I mean? If my children, if I'm raising my children, I'd rather them be tough and a bit mean than gentle and a bit and soft. Sorry, that's just the way of the world. I'd rather them be predators than sheep.
Yeah.
I feel like you could come back from being a predator. How do you come back from being a victim? It's not the same.
So growing up Italian, right? My grandma, this is something she taught me for young. I never forgot it, man. And I still say it, and it trips people out that like this old Italian lady would tell me something like this from a very young age, like from kindergarten. Because here's what happened. I was in kindergarten, right? My grandma used to walk me to school, you know, and she'd come and pick me up from school. And one day, because I was in these, when I was in kindergarten, I was in the first grade reading class because I had learned to read when I was 3, and I already like had a really high aptitude for reading even from then, right?
Yeah.
So I would have to go in with these first graders. Well, I've also been tall all my life, so it was like I was this big kid, but I was only 5 years old. You know what I mean? So like one day, one of them like kicked me in the shins really hard and it like made me bleed or something like that, you know? And my grandma, when she came and picked me up, and she like sees it, you know, and she's like, what happened? What happened? You know, and I was telling her, I was like, but I don't want to get in trouble because I'll get in trouble if I do something, you know, because that was the first thing she said. She goes, did you hit him back? You know, and I was like, no, I'll get in trouble, you know. And she goes, listen, you're going to get in trouble whether you hit him soft or whether you hit him hard. So when you hit him as hard as you can. And I was just like, I'm like, just growing up thinking about that, I was just like, damn, that old lady was a G. Like she just like she had a bunch of those just old school sayings, you know, that like being born in the 20s and then being an immigrant, because you know, we really don't have the frame on it now in America or really in anywhere else. But like Italians, like when they first went over to America, they weren't like a liked people either. There were like plenty of people that were like, get out of here, WAP, you know? So like so it was just that different mindset of like, no, we're not gonna take shit. And the thing you were saying about like the Arab community and like how you have to act with them and how now I shouldn't, Armenians typically don't identify as Middle Eastern. They don't. Other people will identify them as such, but like their location and like how they identify themselves or not, they don't call themselves Middle Eastern. Okay. However, I hope my wife never tunes into this shit because she's just gonna be like, no. They have a lot of the same kind of like attitude and leanings in certain things, right? And they stick very much to themselves. So the fact that my wife married a non-Armenian dude is kind of like a thing.
Yeah.
Like it's not, you know, it's like I'm not an Armo, you know, that the family acts different towards me. And I actually had one of her brothers really likes me. Okay, I could tell a dude like sincerely likes me. I just get the feeling off of him, you know. Another brother is just kind of like, you know. And then one dude, when she went to introduce me, he wouldn't even shake my hand. Like he looked at me and was just like, and just walked off. And I was like, that punk motherfucker. You know what I mean? Like I was just like, all right, that's how you're gonna do me, right? So some people, okay, and this is another thing that I tell people, some people they don't understand the niceties and the formalities and getting at them in a come correct type way. It's like a donkey, to where the only thing they understand is when you hit them with a stick.
Yeah.
You know, and that's just the way of life, you know. I talking about the respect aspect that Greg was talking about. I'm also someone that believes that there's a couple different definitions of respect. There's the type of respect to where you admire someone or revere someone, especially for like something they did or a position they hold or whatever. There's like this admiration, you know. But then there's the kind of respect that's like, I respect the fact that you're another living being that draws breath and has to live on this earth.
Yeah.
You know, and I am going to do unto others how I would like to be done unto me. There's that kind of respect. I believe that kind of respect should be a baseline.
Yeah.
If you've ever done, if you've ever done time, that's absolute.
Yeah.
You may not like the people that you're doing time around or whatever, but unless you're willing to fight to the death, potentially, okay, you're going to give them that respect. You are, because otherwise, it might be like your life, right?
Yes.
I don't believe that everybody's deserving of admiration or anything like that. I mean, certainly not. There's a lot of people that deserve everything they get. right? But as far as just, you know, okay, you're another person, you're another being God created. All right, like I'll give you that until you show me that you are not worthy of it.
Yeah.
And then you lose it, you know.
Yeah.
What do we got here?
Question here from Abu Future Trunks.
Oh, this is like an Abu fan club?
I guess so. This is as a 21-year-old son of you, how do I assert my position as a man in a relationship and ensure I don't simp like the rest of the guys today? As I have more of a kind nature to myself. Barakallahu feek wa feek. I mean, I would say personally, just understand.
What is
Barakallahu feek?
Yeah,
it's like baraka is like goodness. And so barakallahu feek, like may goodness be upon you. It's like may goodness from Allah be upon you.
Okay, got it. Oh yeah, the Allah. I see it. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
so
cool.
Abu Future Trunks with your weird name. You have to understand your boundaries. Sorry.
Go ahead. No, I'm just saying I wasn't talking. I could see how that could have kind of been disrespectful. Abu fan club or whatever. I'm not talking stuff. Not talking any stuff. Abu Future Trunks.
People say
just making a joke.
Abu is actually, it's called a kunya. It's like a nickname, so you can be the father of anything. You know, father this, father that. Yeah, it's a nickname, and you can put anything you want after it. Future Trunks is a bit weird.
That's something you taught me, as a matter of fact.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah,
I got to give you the credit because I remember with the Abuamerican and all that. You were actually the one that taught me that. Okay, yeah, anyway, sorry.
What was the show? Handle Your Business.
Was it on? Okay, yeah, Handle Your Business.
Yeah, I think it was.
Okay.
Look, the vast majority of guys that are dealing with like problems in a relationship comes from a scarcity mindset. I mean, I'll always bring it back to scarcity mindset, especially with women. Guys are afraid to lose their women, and then by being afraid of their woman, they literally they drive the attraction out of the relationship, and then you lose your woman because she has to be attracted to you. You have to be like a go-getter, strong, willed guy. And if you're not that guy, because you keep on collapsing every time she like puts up like a little, barrier or something, or a little bit of resistance, well, what are you going to do? Now, what does this mean? Does this mean like you got to be like a wanker, to your wife? Well, it depends on what it is, but I don't advocate that. But generally, you do have to have your boundaries that you're going to set, and you're not going to, you got to have your battle lines. And it's like, look, baby, this is the line we're not going to cross. And no matter how hard you push it, we're not going past here. And because she's going to have those too. And that's fair enough as a sovereign individual, who has some sort of, individual, degree of dignity and respect, for themselves. So just understand that as the guy in the relationship, you have to basically train your girl with the concept and the idea that you're the general, she's the lieutenant, and all that simping and all that stuff, it's not going to count. Because let me tell you something, Abu Future Trunks, at the end of the day, when everything I know I had to throw that in there. When everything goes wrong, she's always going to defer back to you. She can be like, well, I'm going to go to work. And when she has problems at work, she's going to come to you. When her car breaks down, Miss Independent, I got my own money. Who's she going to call? She going to call ADAC? She going to call pickup, or she going to call you? She's not going to call car pickup. She's going to call you. No matter what, at the end of the day, you are expected to be Superman. And so behave like Superman. Like I can come in and I can wreck this shop because I'm Superman. You are like Patrice O'Neal said that I'm the great white shark. You didn't marry a penguin, and you're a female great white shark. But that dun 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 dun, that music is my music, okay? So, and as long as you keep your relationship like that, you're gonna be okay. Everybody's like, they put too much thought into this stuff, and I understand the necessity in the 21st century, and we're kind of like in a bubble when you come across the whole manosphere and the red pill world, and this stuff gets driven in your head, and everything all of a sudden is like, oh my god, what's she doing here? Oh, dude, she just sneezed, man. Give it a break, dude. It ain't that serious, So,
Hey, man, and check it out, Abu, and anybody else that's really diving into that red pill stuff and the manosphere stuff. Let me tell you something. Okay. I've met a bunch of those dudes. Okay. And I'm not saying that necessarily 100% of the message is bad, but I am saying a bunch of those dudes are straight up nerds. All right. Now, okay, this is my words. This isn't the words of OG Logic or anybody else on here. This is just me. Okay. I've met him. I've spent time with him. I've hung out with him. And what I'm saying is think for yourself and assess for yourself, because just because some dude wrote a book or has a podcast or has whatever, and he's talking about like he knows how to handle women and which way you should be with women or whatever, that doesn't mean that dude knows what he's talking about. It just means he's got a soapbox he's standing on top of and he's trying to tell you. Okay.
Yeah.
Keep in mind that, and one of the reasons why we have this show is because it is OG. We are applying a lot of the old school techniques, okay, that worked for thousands of years. Okay. Wasn't like, all the internet came out and all of a sudden the whole game got changed up and now there's something new. No, man, there's nothing new under the sun. There's stuff that worked forever, and then people tried to put a spin on the game. There is no spin on the game. It's been working for millennia, okay? So just realize that you put things out as far as like standards for relationships. Here's a good way to do it, okay? For a 21-year-old especially, okay? I'm going to assume that your girl is about the same age, maybe a little younger, maybe a little older, whichever. But I'm going to assume you guys are around the same age, right? If you haven't set boundaries already, okay, if you haven't had the discussion to where it's like, hey, this is what I'll accept, this is what I won't accept, whichever, okay? The first time she messes up, right? Don't clown her and put her on blast in front of everyone, okay? But when you're going to take her home or you're going to do whatever, be like, hey, look, so tonight this happened. And I want to let you know that can't ever happen again, ever. Okay, I don't take that. And since we're on the subject, I also won't take this, and this, and whatever else you got on the list. And look, I really like you. Obviously, I'm dating you. I'm with you or whatever. But these are deal breakers for me. So if you can't understand what I'm talking about right now, I don't know that I see a future in our relationship. Now that may be hard for you to say because you may be really attracted to this girl and be like, oh, she's the one, and all this stuff, right? But check it out. I promise you're doing yourself a favor, because if you don't come like that, it'll only get worse, and she will only become more emboldened. Like it's like when you get a fast motorcycle, okay, and like you do 100 miles an hour on it, and you're like, yeah, but this thing can do like 200 miles an hour. I only did 100. Let me see what 150 feels like, right? And the next time you go out, she's gonna do 150 with her mouth, right? And then you're gonna be embarrassed again, and you're gonna be like, oh, okay, well, I really didn't like the way you did that. No, set it from the gate, because that way you have something to stand on. So if she does mess up, you're like, hey, didn't I tell you? Didn't I tell you you don't want to be in this relationship anymore? Because that's not the type of person I want to be in a relationship with. You are only doing yourself a favor by doing this. And if the girl doesn't accept that and she's like, I'm my own woman, I can do what I want, or whatever, goodbye. Eject her like you're pulling the thing on a jet, just yeah, okay, yeah, because all that's going to do is make your life suck. I promise you, I wouldn't be sitting here telling you this stuff if I didn't believe it myself. Right? Get it from the gate, so that down the line, and then especially if you want to do like a state marriage or something like that, to where the government's involved and all that. Oh man, like you don't want it to get to that point and then decide like, oh, I got to get rid of this chick. Get it out of your mouth and out in the open immediately. And if she's with it, then like, oh dang, I got to keep her. You know what I mean? Like I got someone that she's a writer. Like this could work out, and then you can be excited about the relationship you have, and likewise give the same kind of respect. If she's like, hey, I don't like it when you call me a bitch or a chick or whatever, like that. I mean, you know what I mean? Like give a little bit back. Okay, babe, I won't talk about bitches when I'm with you or whatever. Like give a little. But man, if you let transgressions go by, Abu, what was his name? Abu what?
Future
Abu
Trunks.
underpants. Oh, what is it? Future trunks. Okay,
underpants. Yeah,
sorry.
future trunks. Yeah, it's close enough.
My bad. I'm not making fun. I'm not making fun. I was trying to remember.
It's a weird
Okay,
name.
if you set those from the gate, you will be so much more comfortable with your life. I promise. I promise.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm done.
You know, and I forgot to add. Sorry, go ahead, please. Yeah, I went already.
So basically, it's basically like what both of the brothers said. With Abu, what he said, abundance mindset is key. It's scary it's a scary thing to start to have, but once you get over the fear of losing people, the energy that you'll give out, it will be subconscious, but they will feel it. She will feel that you're not afraid to leave her. When a woman feels that they're secure in a relationship or too secure, that's when you find that, if they feel like they can do whatever and get away with it, you'll find that disrespect does creep in. So you as a man has to have a boundary that says, I'm not going to tolerate this, and I'm not afraid to go. And that, it's like losing a job. Your manager, if your manager's got a strict regime and no tolerance for rubbish, you're gonna perform at your job. You're gonna be more likely to not mess around. So sometimes you just have to let those things go. You have to make them things clear. Another thing is power dynamic, because sometimes even brothers that are quite dominant can find themselves in a weak position due to a power dynamic that's like enforced by, let's just say, for example, you living with a woman and the house is in her name, the flat is in her name, it's her car, you're relying on her, so subconsciously you're in a position where you might have to lose some, you might have to take some disrespect to keep your situation going, because you don't want to end up homeless, you don't want to end up without a ride. So sometimes young men forget a lot, especially in the UK, a lot of men get into relationships where they give up so much of their power to women and they always lose, so you could be as alpha as you want. If you haven't got a certain level of power, you're going to lose. So don't put yourself in a bad position. Make sure that you're the one with the property, you're the one driving. Yes, she wants to drive, supplement it, but don't give up your power. And yeah, like what the brothers are saying, just don't be afraid to speak your mind, and don't be, sometimes it could be small things, but just do what you're comfortable with as well. We're not here to dominate women. We're not here to humiliate women and make them second-class citizens. That's not what us three are about. So it's not a man versus woman situation. What we're trying to aim for is us to be able to live harmoniously, with boundaries, like what Bobby said. We want to also respect their boundaries as well. But you have to be comfortable with what you're doing. So feel free to say, look, if you don't want to go for a late night walk by the river, say it. Babe, I don't like things like that. Let them know what you like and what you don't like. Don't just do the most in the courting stage, and then once you're cemented in a relationship, you suddenly realize what you like and what you don't like, because you then are selling a dream. Do you know what I mean? And that could be frustrating for them, because it's like, you introduced me to this and now you don't want to maintain it. So yeah.
Hey, I gotta say real quick, Craig or Abu. So Rishi said, how would you guys handle people who really push your boundaries you set to limits? And Mrs. Abu came back with, divorce, Rishi, divorce. She's a writer, man. That's the one.
Yeah.
I read that. I was like, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Writer. Those are the type of women, fellas, that you want to find right there. The ones like that. That's one thing I love about mine, is that she is gangster as all get out. Like I know that one, like if I needed to, would help me hide the bodies. You know, not that I've put her in that position, but I know that she'd do it. Okay. Not that I've ever asked her to do it, because I don't know who's watching this. Yeah, I need to clarify that. But I'm just saying, if hypothetically, okay.
Yeah. You know, something I also wanted to say is like, basically, it's like, you know, just going off what Bobby was saying earlier, life is too difficult, man, to be like dealing with like a, you know, a rogue agent in under your roof. You know, you can't really have that. You know, you got to be a team. You got to work together, because, you know, life is way too hard. It's way too challenging. You got enough people out there trying to do you in at work, you know, on the roads, you know, societally, socially, on the internet. If you're like us and content creators, you got enough people coming at you that you don't need another person coming at you in your own house. You know what I mean? So just setting boundaries like that on its own is going to have to be important. You know, there's going to, of course, going to be like, and I tweeted about this today. You know, I made a pretty funny tweet. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Where I was basically just talking about, like, you're going to have to excuse your woman sometime. Because here's where, as I said, all women are emotional epileptic terrorists. It's just a matter of time before they have a seizure or go rogue and attack. You're going to have to deal with it a few times a year. It's inescapable. And so, you know, it's just a reality, man. They emotionally freak out, you know. And then, so you're going to have to deal with that also with women. That's just a part of women, you know. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, he said, the woman is like a bent rib. He says, and if you try and straighten it, you'll break it, meaning you'll end up in divorce. And if you leave it alone, it'll remain bent. So they're the bent rib, man. They are the bent rib, and you can't straighten it. So, you know, you also got to understand the difference between, like, you know, someone pushing boundaries and women just being women, you know, and they're like petulant children at times, you know, they freak out. So
grown up children.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you know what? We're talking a lot about, for those that are watching or those that have tuned in. Thank you, first of all. We're talking a lot about like women and stuff, but this goes for like the homies too, or goes for like the manager at work. You know, you have to let someone know, and if it's another man, you don't have to be disrespectful. You don't have to push the envelope. Like I was saying earlier, you should come from a place of basic respect. But you let them know, like, hey, man, that way that you got down when we were back there at the party and, like, you started talking a bunch of shit or whatever, I don't roll like that, man. I wouldn't do that to you. Don't do that to me. Yeah. You know, and just let them know. And if they got something crazy to say about, you know, oh, well, you say, hey, man, look, I'm telling you, this is like you giving them the second chance, okay? I'm telling you, I don't get down like that. Don't get down like that with me. Mm-hmm. Right. And just like you would bounce a woman who doesn't respect what you're talking about or whatever, you don't want homies around. You don't want friends around that are going to be disrespectful or whatever too, because those are some people you just can't trust. And I mean, if your friends don't respect you, then like what's going on in your life? You know what I mean? Like are those the kind of friends that you want? It's people that aren't going to respect. I mean, because one thing, if it's a woman, you know, if a romantically involved woman, but I mean, you're talking about your homies, your ace deuce, your buddies, and they don't even have that basic respect. Like, nah, man, you can't do that. Can't do that.
That's true. And it's funny because with friends, that's probably sometimes could be harder than the woman in your life, you know, dealing with the boundaries. I remember growing up, I used to struggle with things like, oh, shut up. And I used to think, well, who the fuck are you talking? What do you mean shut up? Like, because I understood the microaggressions that led to bigger disrespects, because you know it is in that world. Everyone's trying to be the badder man, and everyone's trying to be
top dog.
Everyone's trying to be top dog, and it starts with, oh, shut up, oh, you're a dickhead. You know, it's a joke, and the next thing you know, you got girls around, and he's saying, "No, you're a dickhead." You know what I mean? And now you want to fight, so you have to nip things in the bud, even if it's a joke. If you're not comfortable with certain jokes, you just say it. Don't do that. That's it.
Yeah,
don't
straight up.
Yeah,
straight up, man. I mean, like, and if they're your friends, you shouldn't feel like uncomfortable talking about like, hey, man, when we're around people, don't say that shit, man. It's one thing if it's just me and you or whatever, and you want to do a little trash talking or whatever. We're in a group in front of people. Don't say that stuff, man. Don't do that. And like, if they can't respect that, like if they come with anything but, oh, you know what, my bad, bro, my bad. Like, yeah, man, I was just joking around, but okay, I see what you're saying. My bad. If they come with anything other than that, that's not the kind of friend you want to have.
No,
straight up.
Not at all.
Yeah.
Not at all. If you're constantly being ribbed by your friends, you're always constantly making, the butt of their jokes. I don't agree with that. Yeah, you have to, unless it's, they could, you're giving back just as good as you're getting, and it's
sure.
But if you are like the constant butt of your friends' jokes and you're not comfortable with it, you have to say something. Otherwise, it'll be worse. And you don't have to say it in front of everyone else. So even if you're like, let's just say you're in a WhatsApp group with 12 other people, come, speak to the person privately, say, look, I'm not really in the mood for those type of jokes. You're my guy and that, but can we just leave that alone? Their answer will tell you what type of friendship you've got.
Yep.
If they try to trivialize it and make you feel like, they try to gaslight you, that's not your friend.
Nope.
That's not your friend. He's comfortable disrespecting you, and he wants to continue disrespecting you. If he says, I'm sorry, I didn't realize, I'm so sorry, what happened again? That's that's someone you could say, all right, cool. He's heard me, he's apologized, and we can move forward. It's simple, but do not let it continue, because disrespect is contagious. Someone that wouldn't think of disrespecting you would start disrespecting you off the strength of someone else disrespecting you. That's how life is. We all have a teacher.
That happens at work.
Yeah, it's like school. You have a teacher that you think is strict, and someone starts telling them to shut up, and you're like, oh, you're not tough. I could tell you to shut up too. And then,
do you
know what I mean?
Yeah.
Disrespect.
Work environments like that.
Hey, let me ask you guys a question. Oh, Oh, go ahead. You're breaking up, Craig. Go ahead.
I was just saying, work environments are like that. If you let one person get away with it, everybody else starts to get comfortable with the idea. Like you said with the teacher, and then everybody starts jumping on the bandwagon. You find out that when you start like really cracking down and setting boundaries with everybody like says you're a jerk and you're a dickhead and he's an asshole, and they start like now you become a bad guy, which technically isn't a bad thing as long as they leave you alone. But it's a constant battle after that, where everybody thinks I can push the limits, and then you're overreacting when you're actually not. You're just setting standard boundaries. Yeah.
Have we answered Rishi's question?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah. There's another question actually.
Okay. Okay. Let me ask you guys this. What? Oh, and I want to answer CJ's question too, because I was reading that over here on the sidebar. What is there a type of disrespect? Okay, to where, and I'm not asking like I don't know. I'm throwing this question out there, like for the group to elaborate on. A type of disrespect to where, like, they don't get a warning. They don't get like a, hey, homie, you did this or that or whatever. Please don't do. To where you're just like, nah, man, we ain't friends anymore. Or no, you got to go. Or to the girl, or oh, whatever. To where you're just like, I mean, there's a couple basic ones. Like, for example, like if she cheats or something like that. That's one. But I mean, are there other ones for friends? Girlfriends or whatever that you can think of and maybe want to expound on?
For me,
I'm gonna stop my cam here real quick.
For me, with friends, money and women.
Yeah,
if you're, because I've recently stopped talking to a friend who, funny enough, is that I got fooled, because we were friends for a long time. We were in prison together. He's helped me financially. So sometimes because someone might be loyal when it comes to money, it doesn't mean they'll be loyal when it comes to women. Or vice versa. Or
men get
me,
stupid around women.
They get very stupid. So with me, it's war, money, and women. Those are and status, because people can betray you for status. Now, this guy, what he did is that he made attempts on my friend's wife, who working for him, and for me, that was unforgivable. Do you know what I mean?
Unforgivable.
Because my friend trusted me to help her get a job. She did a few stupid things herself, but this guy was creeping on my friend's wife and denying. And it was like, I had all the evidence, and it was like, are you mad? Like, who does that? So he passed the test with money, because he wasn't greedy with money. We've done business with each other. We've made money together. But with a woman that he's attracted to, he failed miserably failed. And that was something I couldn't forgive, So that, for me, money, women, status, war is something I can forgive if you're not of that character. So if you're a friend that's, you've never been on missions with me, you've never acted like you're like that, that's all right. But if you proclaim to be a warrior, you've been out in the streets with me, you've done things that I know you've done things. When it's time for war and I can't rely on you because you're making up excuses or whatever, then that's it. That's especially if I've put in work for you, especially if I've risked my freedom, and you can't do the same for me. That I don't want to hear no excuses, because we signed up for this. So that's something where I won't. And women, it is with women. There's level, there's cheating. There's no comeback from that. I don't want to hear anything. I don't want to hear anything. It's just over. There's nothing to talk about.
Yeah, that's it.
There's, with like what Abu said earlier on, sometimes women can act out a character. So if it's let's just say, for example, they act out a character, or make a scene in public, maybe once I could forgive. If it's a consistent behavior that's happening, then there's a problem. But if it's like a one-off argument where they've crossed the line, that's women. You can't avoid that. They will always push boundaries. But what we're looking for is a consistent, deliberate disrespect or violation of you as a man.
Yeah.
So for me, I wouldn't be able to take a consistent disrespect where it's like every other day I'm just being put down, or I'm being disrespected or humiliated in front of my family. And no, there's no. I don't need it. I don't. You know what I mean?
Nobody does. Yeah.
I don't need it.
Yeah, nobody does. For me, basically, I mean, everything you guys mentioned, and I'd say the one thing that I'd add on, I mean, actually, Sadiq, you actually covered is cowardice. Just cowardice I can't deal with. It's not something I like. It's not pretty, and it's not. It's just when you're dealing with people, it's forgivable to a degree, especially if you expect it from their personality and their character. But to a degree, it's like it's like you said, if you never said you're about that life, then fine. But when like everything becomes like an act of like what if it's like, come on, man, god dang, it's you can't get anything done in life, you can't go any further, and especially if you rely on that person or you want to rely on this person for something. And so that's just something. I don't know if I cut somebody off for it instantly, but it definitely like brings things down. It's not even I don't even think I lose respect. I just lose contact with that individual, and I'm just like, those individuals, and I'm just like, look, it's like I can't live like this. You know what I mean? I can't do it. So I mean, with women, I mean that's pretty standard. Other dudes, these type of stuff, constant, like you said, constant, unabated, like just BS. We got enough going on in our lives as men that we really don't need all of that extra, drama and whatever else. So yeah, CJ says, "Salam alaikum. Walaikum salam wa rahmatullah. Would you guys recommend getting your own home rather than moving in with a woman you want to marry if she has her own place? Look, I'll start off here because I like to rant on. Don't move in with a woman, okay? Just don't do it. You can, but I'd say don't do it. And some guys do it and they pull it off successfully. I've done it. I've tried it. It's just not good. I did it in London. I had multiple wives in London. They had their own places, and I was, going here and there and staying between multiple places. Dude, they always just act big goofy when they got their own place and they think they got some sort of, power. It's like every single one of them was like, well, you need to do the dishes. And I'm like, I ain't doing no dishes. I don't care if I'm in your house, my house, I'm outside. I'm not doing dishes. It's like cat in the hat. Or no, green eggs and ham. I don't like green eggs here. Don't like them there. I ain't doing dishes here. I ain't doing dishes there. I ain't doing them nowhere. So don't, but they get this weird power trip, and it's just really, it messes up the dynamic of the relationship between a man and a woman when a woman is actually paying the rent and you're staying in her place. Just don't do it, man.
I wouldn't recommend it. I've been in that situation on three different occasions, and each one ended up with me packing up black bags. Do you know, do you know what I mean? Yeah. Packing, and I can there's funny situations where I remember like nights where literally in the middle of the night I've been told to get out, and when you just start looking for things because you're trying to delay. You're actually doing delay tactics like, oh, have you seen my PlayStation pad, or have you seen, because it's impractical. You're trying to kick me out at 2 a.m. in the morning. Where the fuck am I gonna go? The point is, don't do it. My mum always told me never ever move in with a woman, and I never used to understand it because you think you've got all your stuff together, you think you're the man, you've got all the answers, but women would turn the screw on you because it's an unnatural power dynamic. This is not something that occurred in history unless she was a courtesan. If you look at historical history, women never left their homes to live alone. It just didn't happen. The only time a woman left their home would be to their marital home.
Yeah.
But now we're living in the West where women have suddenly acquired homes through however they found it. They're in a very unnatural power dynamic once they get into relationships because the provided aspect of the man has been taken away. Not that they don't, they still expect you to provide, but they are usually, the houses are being paid for by the government, the majority of it. So now they're here in their whatever houses they've got, and you're there because you ain't gonna get the same support from the government as a man. So a lot of the time, men have given up homes. I've got a cousin who gave up his house to move in with a woman. Didn't last 2 years before he was homeless.
Oh my! This just brings me. Let me jump in there real quick. Sadiq, you made a good point, and man, it's like profound. If the power dynamic was meant to be like that, Allah would have allowed women to divorce men in the same way that He allowed men to divorce women. And we see like how many times a woman yell, "Divorce me, divorce me, divorce me," and you hear dudes like, "Oh, my wife's saying divorce me," and then they're still together 8 years later.
Yeah.
They're not supposed to have that power because they're too irrational.
Finished. Yeah, would be finished.
Renegade terrorists, emotional terrorists.
Just don't. Another thing you don't want to be in that position is that you don't ever want to be in a situation where you can't speak your mind for fear of not having a bed that night. Because no matter how dominant you think you are, or how much you think you've got your stuff together, there will be times where you actually have to weigh up your options of, do I address this situation or something that's irritating me that's going to potentially lead to an argument, but that argument might lead to me now having to pack my bags. So there's times where I've had to swallow my tongue just for a peaceful night. Now that's not a healthy situation to live in, because what happens then, it breeds resentment. It breeds resentment, and the last thing you want to do is resent your wife, your partner. You don't want to be resenting her because you're now like a baby boy in that house. You actually can't speak your mind whenever you feel like it because if it leads to an argument, there is that possibility of her telling you to leave. And a woman will always tell you before you move in, I would never ever kick you out. They will always say that to you. They say it. And they mean it when they say it. I would never do that. I would never kick you out. And then argument, get out, man! Get out! Get out! Get out! Get out! I'm calling the police. And you're like, what? And then what?
Yeah.
Go to your mum's. You stay on your mum's sofa for a week or a few days. You go back home with your tail between your legs. And it happens 3-4 times before you can't go nowhere anymore because you've run out of options. In fact, you look stupid turning up at your friend's house because they're like, again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Again, it's not practical. It's not practical. Do not do it. Do not do it under any circumstances unless your name is on the tenancy. That's the only situation where it can make sense. You have to insist that your name is on the tenancy and you pay the lion's share of the rent. Or you pay the rent if you can, because then the power shifts to you. Because she will be that burden that's been lifted off her of rent, she'll get used to that. She'll get used to the fact that you're paying that rent. So she's now going to think twice before she kicks you out because she's thinking, do you know what? That's an extra handbag this month. That's extra shoes. That's extra, you know what I mean? Whatever.
Yeah.
Change the power dynamic if you do get in that situation.
Yeah, because you know the girl might have like a bomb place. She might be getting a bomb rate on a bomb place, and you're just like, oh man, this is dealy right here. But I totally agree with what you're saying. Okay, well if that's the case, then let's put us both on the lease. And she's gonna look at it like, you know, oh look, my man's stepping up. He's wanting to take responsibility. He's wanting to, but in reality, you're like, nah, I'm just making sure I don't get kicked out of this motherfucker.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like you're like I ain't getting 86 out of here. You know, so I can see that. You know, it's funny that you bring that up about the girl going to the marital family, like going from her family's house to like her marital house, right? Because that's one thing. And to get back to the whole Armenian thing, you know, with my wife and whatnot, like she said that a bunch because they're really old school like that too. She's like, our daughter's not going anywhere until she gets married. Forget this American, you know, oh, I'm 18, I'm out on my own. No, bullshit. You know, and that's not even me saying it. That's her saying it. She's like, she ain't going nowhere. Like until somebody puts a ring on that, you know, then she can go. Right. So, you know, and you have to have those type of sensibilities. Part of, you know, anybody that watches what's going on in current society, watches the news, watches, you know, just kind of sees what popular, what's popular in society has to say. We know either from a religious, ethical, or just common sense point of view that it's garbage. Okay, that they don't have any of that stuff in mind. They're just like about what's popular. So when you have something like that, right, or you have someone that's of that same mindset, it's good. It can work in your favor because you are applying that OG logic to your life, right? But you know, keep in mind that when somebody has 100% control over something, you know, there's an old saying, absolute power corrupts absolutely. You know what I mean? So like, if it's something to where they do have 100% power, then once they realize that, they could just be like, oh, okay, well, get out.
Yeah.
Get out. You know, and you don't, especially being a man, okay, you don't need that kind of dynamic in your life. So if it's something that works for you and you could say like if it's like, oh, okay, hey, this is a bomb spot, there ain't any other apartments around here or any other houses around here, this is good rent, good price, good whatever, okay, I'll get my name on the lease with her, or I'll get my name on, you know, whichever with her, whatever. Okay, that's exceptional. But to just hand over your total license and agency and everything else to where it's just like, okay, babe, I'll be at your beck and call and your mercy, and whatever you decide, I'll just go along with, you know, that's not good for you as a man. It's not.
Yeah. It could set you back years. My last marriage, I was married for 7 years, and by the fourth year, I was being kicked out because I didn't have my own place. I was being kicked out, but I was homeless for a little bit. You know, it was probably one of the most difficult periods of my life, but it made me. You know what I mean? I had to monk mode. You know, I had to dig deep and climb out of that hole that I was in. And we divorced for 1.5 of those years, and then we remarried. Now, when we remarried, I already had a place, and the dynamic changed because I was never getting kicked out, even in argument. If anything, at the first hint of an argument, I'm like, I'm gone, I'm going home, and she'll be like, "Where are you going? Where are you going? You know, we still need to talk." I'm like, I'm going home, and I realized that there was more respect coming my way because I had the option to leave at any time, and I utilized it. I utilized it a lot. Yeah. In fact, it was actually difficult. Sometimes it was annoying going back to the marital home. I was so comfortable in my space that, you know, it just worked for me. But even if you know, like what Bobby said, if you can't get your name on the lease, tenancy, whatever, try and get even if it's a room, even if it's a flat share, just have a base that is away from your wife's home. A room is cheap. You can get rooms, you know what I mean? You don't have to, a room is, in London, a room is quite cheap. So you can get a room somewhere where you could just put some of your belongings so that she knows that you've got another setup somewhere else.
Yeah.
So even just subconsciously, she knows he's got a TV there, he's got a bed there, he's got clothes there.
And he could have other women there if he wanted.
And he can have other women there. So that,
right.
And you know what I mean? Just sometimes you got to let them know, you know? So
because when they know that, and that's in the background, that whole threat of, well, get out, that becomes a lot less ineffectual. Yeah. And then they have to think like, okay, well, that's not going to work. Yeah. So what do I do?
What do I do?
You know, yeah, for sure.
Men always have to consolidate their power in a relationship. Yeah. That's something that a lot of men just don't understand. They just feel like they can just be free spirits and go with the flow, and you don't. It's a relationships it's almost like a power grab. You have to consolidate your power for your own benefit. So pay that bill. Make yourself so useful that she will have. She really would have to consider what she's doing if she's telling you to leave, because it will affect her financially straight away. That's the first thing, you know, that money that you're putting in towards the bill. We know women love money. It will, you know what I mean? Not to say that you have to keep them hostage, you know, because we don't want to have situations where women are slaves due to, you know, they're financial slaves. But it shouldn't be easy to leave your husband just because of an argument, or, you know what I mean? Like, this is how it was historically. A woman that's left a marital home, before she leaves that marital home, there's so many things to consider. Economics was a main one. You're going back to your father's house. He has released you. So for even your father, who has released you, you are no longer an economic burden to him. That room that you occupied for 20 years is now his study. You're coming home with your 3 kids that he's now going to have to provide for. He's marching you back to your husband's home, and he's saying, listen, we need to work this out. Because in his mind, yes, he wants his daughter in a successful marriage, but we can't pretend that the economics of it is not playing in his mind. I'm not going to take care of you and your 3 kids, you better go back home. You know what I mean? So women had to fight to make their relationships work because the consequences of it not working were damaging. They're really damaging. It's survival. But this the safety net they have here, the safety net they have in the West is a problem. That safety net is causing more problems than solving them.
Yeah. We're at an hour and 40 minutes. What do we want to do?
This is kind of off topic, actually. Muhammad Yusuf asked, what age range is for a man who's trying to get married but wants to be the best version of himself? It's kind of off topic, but Yusuf, man, just get married when you're prepared, dude. I mean, don't be rushed into a relationship by family, women, or whatever else. Make sure you're economically and emotionally mature enough and in a position to take care of a family. And I tell guys this all the time. Don't try and like, you can, of course, but it's hard mode is get married and build your business and yourself while married. That's doing it on hard mode. It's better to do it on the front end, because I can tell you, trying to write the vetting guide, trying to get my new website launched, trying to do this, trying to do that, trying to make a future plan for my next products that are going to be released. It's very difficult when you got little kids. They need time. You got women. They need time. This, that, the other, life, work, blah, blah, blah. Dude, it's hard to do with a family. And so just make sure it's something that you do early on. Front load that work, because one way or another, it's going to catch up to you. So it's better to do it up front and then like sort of cruise into things and, and have an easier system in place as opposed to trying to do it all at once. I think, from the work world, the school world, you can't do it all at once. It's very difficult, So just, guys.
Hey, so here's what's up. Late 20s and anything after. You try doing that shit in your early and mid 20s, like just statistically and just mentally and everything, it's not where it's at. Like I know everybody likes thinking they're the exception to the rule and they're the smartest 24-year-old that's ever come across the planet and everything, but that's probably not the case. You're probably just like most of the rest of them. The earliest you should be getting married is like your late 20s as a man. In my opinion.
I actually agree with that. Yeah. The only issue I have is that because I'm a Muslim and we, as a Muslim, there's no other outlet than having relations with your wife that is acceptable. So
right.
To hold back to 29, you must be an exceptional human being. So that's the problem. Because the advice I always give is build yourself up. You see more at the top of a mountain than at the bottom of the mountain. At the bottom of the mountain, you can only see what's directly in front of you and behind you. At the top, you see everything. So that's the metaphor I always give to young men. Build yourself up, climb that mountain. You'll have bigger and better options. However, I know how it feels to be a young man full of testosterone in a society that's surrounded by beautiful women. So how do we balance that, or that advice of bettering yourself, climbing that mountain, but at the same time protecting your chastity, and the religion.
Yeah. Can I jump in there real quick? Yeah, I mean, it kind of takes care of itself. I mean, if I think the average young Muslim male, that's the demographic I'm dealing with, they already know that the expectations of the average Muslim woman are ridiculous. I mean, they expect you to have like your own house, car, this, that, the other, then pay like a 20,000, British pound dowry with a 50,000 British pound marriage and a honeymoon in Seychelles. It kind of takes care of itself. You're not going to end up married anyway, because they just have ridiculous, unbelievable demands. So, I mean, you can get married, but you're going to deal with all the problems of her being mad that she didn't get all that flashy dashy bling bling stuff that all her other friends did, you know, who married guys that are older than you. You know what I mean? It's going to be a crap show. You're going to get a front row seat to a shit show no matter what.
Yeah.
So, you know, pick your poison. But I agree with you, Sadiq, that it is difficult, man. I was married to 2 women in London, and I was walking around like, yo, what the hell, son? You know, that place is mad, man. You know, it's not it's not a place to be single. It's a difficult place to have 2 wives. So, you know, not having any. Whew. Sorry.
If you do marry young, if you do choose a woman that's young, so if you, let's say you're at the beginning of your journey and you do happen to find a woman that, you know, you can marry, choose one with the right characteristics that could endure your struggle, because some women are not prepared for struggle, and that I'm talking from experience. You know, they can love you head to the moon, depending on the way they've been brought up. Some you know, women have been brought up as princesses. They've never, you know, their parents have kind of shielded them away from financial struggles and everything. So these things have never been their concern. So if you put that upon them, a lot of them will resist and they'll resent you for it, because you've broken their Disney idea of what life is. So if you're not the finished article and you want a wife, I would suggest, especially if you're younger and you're not prepared to wait, go for one that understands life and the hardship of life and understand the grind. I'm quite fortunate right now with my missus. Her dad's a millionaire, but he comes from humble beginnings. So I was, you know, when she's told me that, you know, I'm gonna meet him, and I was a bit like, oh shit, man, this guy's a millionaire. I haven't got nothing like on his level. I'm still a work in progress. I wonder what he's gonna say. And his main thing was like, I could tell you're a good man. You know, you took custody of your daughters as a single father, and he knows the struggle, because he's come from nothing himself. So he's basically giving me that how can I say it, that space to grow. You know, he's not expecting the finished article straight away. And it's the same with her mum. Her mum said that I remind her of him when he was younger and he was working his way up. So my partner, she's not materialistic. She's not saying I need this, I need that. It helps that she's got it already, but she understands, because they've told her, you have come from humble beginnings. They don't, you know, as much as they've got everything, she is very grounded, because she knows that they always living in a 1-bedroom, and they've gone from stage to stage to stage, where like now they're living in a grand big house and they have all these things. She understands the process. So if you're young and you're looking to get married and you know that it's going to be a struggle, go for a woman that understands the process, preferably that's actually been through the process, so she hasn't got unrealistic expectations, because a lot of women do have unrealistic ideals and expectations, and I blame their fathers. You know, a lot of fathers are not explaining life to their daughters, that, you know, part of the process of a man is the fact that he's going to work his way up, and you might have to gamble on someone that is on a journey. Not every man has to be the finished article. Like what you're saying, Abu, the expectation upon us of what we're supposed to provide is not even Islamic, because we know it's just shelter, clothing, and food. That is the basic requirement that we're supposed to provide, and that is not acceptable for 90% of Muslim women right now. So we now have to go above and beyond and extend the years of being single just to be able to, you know, keep up with the Joneses that they expect, because they're looking on Instagram and they're seeing all these nice locations and beautiful holidays or whatever. So if you can get a girl that understands that, you know, we can get to that level, but for 10 years, we might have to struggle. Then you've got a diamond.
Yeah. Guys, it has been 1 hour and 50 minutes. Thank you for tuning in. We should have a guest on again, guys. We should get a guest and like have something going on.
Let's see if we can't pull some people from some of our groups. Like we might be able to get like Ed on or somebody. I just got to reach out to him and he'd be a good one because he understands that OG logic.
Yeah. He really does. Yeah, that was a good interview with Ed, man. I like that guy. All right, guys, thanks for tuning in. This has been OG Logic episode 10. Kind of rambled at times at the beginning, but hey, you guys always get the knowledge. Set boundaries with people. Don't back off of them. Don't be afraid to be a bad guy. Don't be a pushover. What else do we say?
Be assertive.
Yeah, be assertive.
Yeah.
Non-scarcity mindset.
Courage.
Yes.
Courage.
Be
Have
brave.
that courage. Fortitude. Thanks for joining.
Indeed. All right, we're out, guys.